Google has some surprises for the Pixel 10 this year, and we're able to now share with you some of the specs of the Pixel 10, which is slated to be released in late August. Starting off with the display, we're looking at a 6.3-inch Full HD Plus resolution 120Hz LTPO display. This is something that Apple refuses to give you unless you pay $1,000 or you're a pro. It also will have an upgrade in brightness to 3000 nits of peak brightness. That's up from 2700 nits last year on the Pixel 9. And it'll also have Corning's Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on both the front and back. Now, internally, we're looking at the Google Tensor G5, which is going to be manufactured by TSMC. It's expected to be a 3nm processor, which puts it on par with last year's chips from Qualcomm and MediaTek. So they're still a little bit behind. But as you probably know, Google is more focused on AI performance rather than raw performance like what Qualcomm and MediaTek are focused on. It'll also come with 12 gigabytes of RAM once again, and options for 128 gigabytes or 256 gigabytes of storage. Unfortunately, there won't be an option for 512 or 1 terabyte. Battery is also getting a boost to 4,970 milliamp hour. That's about 5% higher than what the Pixel 9 was. It's also a bit higher than the Pixel 10 Pro, and that could likely be because of the vapor chamber, which we reported on yesterday. Charging speeds are also getting an improvement here. We're going up to 29 watts unwired, and wireless we're going to get up to 15 watts, and that's going to be thanks to Qi 2. Now, if you don't have a Qi 2 wireless accessory like a battery pack or some sort of MagSafe battery pack, it's probably going to charge at about 7.5 watts or maybe 10 watts. It's going to be slower. Now we got to talk about cameras. This is where the biggest change is going to be for the Pixel 10 this year. So as we saw with the CADs that we released a few months ago, there is now going to be triple cameras on the back of the Pixel 10. That includes a telephoto. The telephoto is a 10.8 megapixel 5x telephoto camera. That might sound familiar because it comes from the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And it's honestly not that great of a telephoto camera. I honestly would have rather Google just not give us a telephoto at all and leave the other two cameras alone, because those two have also been downgraded actually. So the primary camera is now going to be a 48 megapixel camera, which is going to be the exact same sensor from the Pixel 9a. And the ultra wide has now been downgraded to 12 megapixels from a 48 megapixel unit from last year. That's a really surprising downgrade. And the only thing I can think of as to why Google's doing this is to differentiate it from the Pixel 10 Pro series. And then finally, the front-facing camera is sticking with 10.5 megapixels instead of jumping up to 42, which we saw on the Pro models last year. It's clear looking at all of these specs from Google that they're trying harder to differentiate the base model from the Pro, because in recent years, the A series, the base, and the Pro have all gotten really close together, where it's really hard to differentiate which one you should buy, especially with how quickly they go on sale and how often they go on sale.